Unmute myself. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Carrow Road. There's the score if you didn't know it. Norwich City have lost here in their Premier League opening fixture 3-0 to Liverpool. Welcome to my video verdict. Be interesting how this goes down with you, because I think looking at some of the social media reaction this evening, it's quite clear it's a bit mixed, and I wonder where people's expectations are and things like that. So I'll get stuck into it. I mean, I have to say, I went into this game with quite significantly low expectations, I feel, mainly because of a lot of the reasons that you will hear post-match. In that, Norwich have had no pre-season, and they are not coming up against a team like Arsenal, who were a mess on Friday night, but they were coming up against a team that had managed to organise its own camp away in Europe, spending time together, getting legs into people who needed it, minutes into their legs even, and a coherent pre-season with a couple of games at home, and just a generally different sharpness. And I'll be honest, I feared for Norwich a bit today, because just the level of preparation is miles off it. I mean, not only have you got people making their debuts, but you've got people who have played 2 pre-season friendlies very early in pre-season without anything at all afterwards, like Milot Rashica, who I have to say, I thought he clearly tired in the second half, but it was really encouraging to see what he was doing in the first half. By the same token, seeing that his final ball was basically a clear delivery that didn't do anything for the striker who was going to be on the end of it in terms of Teemu Pukki. You can see, by the way, there's a lot of work going on to sort the situation out and get Carrow Road tidied up, and also loads of flags. Look at the flags. And this is because we had 27,000 fans back here in Carrow Road, which was entirely wonderful, by the way. As someone who has been incredibly fortunate to have been at every game last season, and then all but one in Project Restart, I had forgotten how magical it was to have a proper crowd in. And this was, to be honest, regardless of the football match, just such a special occasion. And I'm sure if you were here, you would have felt that. I'm sure if you've got a ticket for a game coming up, you will be really looking forward to it. So that was wonderful. What was I saying before that? Yes, Milot Rashica providing crosses that probably Josh Sargent would like to get on the end of, but maybe not the best for Teemu Pukki. And they're all the signs of a team that hasn't had the chance to at least get across the idea and the chemistry of playing with each other. So I think there's definitely a degree of mitigation with that. He tired quite early in the second half, as I have to say, did Norwich. They did kind of drop off a cliff a bit. I thought Liverpool were excellent in that they really started getting a lot more bodies a lot higher up the pitch when they attacked. And to be honest, they kind of flooded and overran Norwich in that period, which I think, again, there's probably a degree of mitigation that Norwich didn't really probably feel able to change it in terms of the back four and the midfield 5, as it kind of became. Norwich's 4-3-3, which was matching Liverpool, did kind of, I think it went into that shape to kind of offer some self-preservation. Norwich went 1-0 down in the first half. I thought it was a fortuitous goal to a degree in terms of Mo Salah's touch, which was not great, but it worked out as a wonderful through ball effectively for Jota, who was then able to slot home. But you say it's fortuitous. I mean, ultimately, Liverpool had a bit of pressure, and you do make your own luck. This is the thing about Norwich bouncing between the 2 divisions. We know exactly what that's like in the Championship. You put a team under pressure for a long period, and you end up making a chance because you've just had that sort of force for however long. So I think that's, to a degree, understandable from that point of view. And Norwich kind of went into the 4-5-1 from that point on. And I kind of appreciate that. I can appreciate that Daniel Farke was trying to keep a degree of control in the game. He took a bit of positivity from the fact that when Norwich went 3-0 down, it didn't get any worse. I think they were 3-0 down after about an hour, maybe 68, 69 minutes. I might be wrong there, but please forgive me if I am. The second goal was very tired defending, and the third was just a bit sloppy, really, and a good finish from Mo Salah. The second one, Roberto Firmino, I think Norwich got in a bit of a tangle, and because players were tired, which is what I sensed, especially from maybe Grant Hanley, and also there wasn't much tracking then from either Max Aarons or Billy Gilmour. It had to be one or the other. So they share the responsibility there. They were, certainly in terms of Ben Gibson and Grant Hanley, they were trying to, make amends and fight the fire of the situation, but kind of both made it a bit worse, which happens when you're trying to deal with that. And Liverpool got the quality just to cut you open at that point. So, Liverpool were professional, is what Jurgen Klopp said, which I think is fair enough. But also, Mo Salah was trying to set up Sadio Mane for 2 goals. They were still running through, and they still looked pretty hungry, to be honest. And having watched Manchester United smash Leeds, and I don't even think Leeds were that bad, I thought that was a really good reminder. The fact is, if a team's on it, you can just get rolled over. And then all of that stuff I've said at the start, what is it? Is it a mitigation? Is it an excuse? Does it matter? I don't know. So there's all that. And I said I had quite low expectations, didn't I? I mean, Norwich did push at the end. I thought Billy Gilmour did well, actually. I still have reservations, and there will be bigger tests ahead in terms of games that Norwich need to do better in. So how he deals with when he's pressed and his reading of danger is really important for the role he is playing. Norwich do still want a defensive midfielder, as far as I'm aware. So whether he will continue to be in that role or get the chance to play 15 yards further forward is an interesting point. But I thought he did well for my expectations of that. I thought his use of the ball was excellent. It's obviously what we've seen and heard a lot about, and I thought he really got the chance to show that tonight. So that is really encouraging. The defensive work wasn't great at times. I think to be too harsh on them in this scenario, I think is a fair point. To suddenly go, oh look, Norwich can't defend in the Premier League. I think you can't be that judgmental immediately. I think we have to see where things are going forward. But of course, the centre back also remains on Norwich's list. But Grant Hanley putting in a performance like that, having had no pre-season, is quite something. I would say again, it's difficult with Max Aarons because he has played. I thought he was good in the first half, it was nice to see him having to work a bit, I suppose, because the Championship was such a cruise. I think if anyone came into this game thinking we haven't seen how good Dimitris Giannoulis can be in the Premier League and whether he is a Premier League player, I thought he was very good today for a first outing. So that was hugely encouraging. And I thought also you saw when Josh Sargent came on, someone who has had a pre-season and has got a bit of minutes and form under him, because I thought he was actually pretty sharp, and probably then just gets me back to the what was going through my mind at about 60 minutes, which is at that point, I think it was still might have been 2-0, might have been before or after the second goal. I think it was before the second goal. Norwich were already looking a bit tired, and there's a bit of me. I'll see if I keep starting to say this over the course of the season. There was a bit of me that would have liked to have seen just some fresh legs on earlier because of the situation. I know because of all that mitigation I've listed, in a way, that is the sort of thing I would have liked to have seen earlier. So there you go. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here. I couldn't sit here and tell you loads of definitive judgments from pre-season because I hate it. You can't make it. You can only keep it as hindsight for what happens when the real stuff begins. I'm not sure if the real stuff has really begun yet because this was kind of lopsided in terms of a comparison. But I will say Liverpool are better than Arsenal. I think you can see the quality that Liverpool have got. They are going to, they're not going to be very far off finishing in the top 4. And I think that's a modest statement. So we will see how they get on. But I'm encouraged, to be honest. I'm not going to. Let's see how they get on in the games that really matter. But I'm encouraged by this. So there we go. It is, of course, another encouraging weekend that waits, hopefully, when Norwich travel to the Etihad next weekend to face Manchester City, who hopefully still won't have a striker. So that would be a bonus. Let's just remember that they lost 5-0 there at the end of the last season, which probably wasn't actually that long ago, was it, in the actual calendar years of things. So there we are. Shout out for Lucas Rupp. I thought he was really good in terms of how he knitted things together in the first half and his energy. Again, I'm putting that in the context of a performance where Norwich have been beaten 3-0. They've been beaten comfortably against a very good team. So that's where we are. We're picking up on those things. Pierre Lesmelou, I thought the game passed him by maybe slightly at times, but he showed bits and pieces. I think that's everyone, really, in terms of deserving of a mention. Notable, Jordan Hugo wasn't in the squad. Again, he's been involved with COVID and issues like that. So I think we all suspect that there's a chance he might not be here at the end of the transfer window. We will have to see. Christos Jolis, I'm practicing. Christos Jolis was on the bench, which is, of course, a 9-man bench this season. He didn't come on. I think a few people, and this may have been because of some of the messaging coming out of the Greek media, were under the impression that Norwich had pushed that deal to sign him from PAOK through really quickly so he could be involved today. That's not really true. I think Norwich wanted to get it done. It's in my piece on The Athletic, by the way, that went up this morning. I think Norwich wanted to get it done so that he wouldn't be involved in their Europa Conference League game. So that was more the point. So we will wait and see him at some point. But again, a classy young man with a lot of potential. We didn't see him today, so he's got to come in as well. Todd, I haven't mentioned, and I thought there were bright spots. I mean, if Todd is really trying to manage a ligament injury at the moment, then that was okay. I thought he disappeared a bit in the second half, but we know what Todd's about, and he's not going to shy away from a game or in a challenge like this. Andrew Omobamidele was missing through tonsillitis, so hopefully we'll see him in the coming weeks when he's over that. That will happen. I think we're all done. So there we go. I will be, all being well, I assume, at the Etihad next weekend when I'll do another one of these. Thanks for all your comments. I'll keep them coming as well if you're watching non-live. I can't read them now, and I'm not going to because there's too much to do. I'm trying to work out how to do this live in the first place. But I really appreciate you watching. I always like reading what you say, especially if you're disagreeing with me or agreeing with me. It's all absolutely fine. We'll be doing the On The Ball podcast on Monday. So make sure you check that out on all the usual feeds and obviously the live video record as well. And I've got a bit of my holiday out of the way now, so I can properly crack on with some proper work. So keep an eye out for that over the course of the week over at theathletic.co.uk. Have a look at theathletic.co.uk/Norwich pod if you're not a subscriber, and see if maybe you can pick up something there so you can read some of my stuff. There is an interview with Alan Bowkett I did a few weeks ago. If you haven't read that, I suggest you read it because it's pertinent to what's going on here right now, as well as what he went through when he was chairman of this football club. Also profile pieces on Josh Sargent and Christos Jolis, which is me practicing his name, as well as Milot Rashica and Pierles Melou. So that's all my practice done. Thank you all for watching. Always much appreciated. Hope you found this occasion good. It's hard to put into words just how lovely it was having everyone back. It really was special. I will see you very soon. Have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves. And as I take all this off, there we go. Oh, you don't need reminding me of the score anymore, do you? That is all grand. I am signing off now. Thank you all. Have a lovely week. And see you all very soon. Ta-ra.